Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make Stark Tower / the Avengers Tower. I have made this in the past, but I really wanted a new version for Stream City, and here we are. Hopefully, you like this version just as much, if not better. This is the amount of space required to make your build. Do feel free to make this grid in your world if you feel as though it will help you out. And here are all of the materials that we will use throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these. Step 1, ladies and gentlemen, come all the way over to the front left hand corner of your grid, if you've made it, and count backwards 1, 2, 3. This is the starting position. Begin by placing 9 light grey concrete extending up from the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then extend backwards by 33. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. To which I'm just going to connect down to make sure that it does join to the corner of my grid. Perfect. So, we then want to take that 33rd block and extend across the build by 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, to which I'll also connect this down to the bottom as well. And then I will extend the 18th block forwards and join it across to our starting position. So what essentially we're making is a big, giant, light grey concrete box. So let's join all of the 4 corners down to the ground, and I'll tell you what, we'll even join the bottom of this together as well. So quite literally to make a giant light grey concrete rectangle. It actually looks like concrete as well, as it is light grey. So not only is it like just a light grey concrete rectangle, it actually does just look like a big giant solid block of actual concrete. So what we want to have should look exactly like this. So the next thing we're going to do is, starting from the top front left hand corner of our giant light grey concrete block, we want to move backwards from this corner, 1, 2, and on top of this block right here place 9 light grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to start adding some form to this building. So from this block, we then want to place an up left diagonal moving towards the back of the build, and then 3 light grey concrete on top. 1, 2, 3. Now, that exact same thing that we have done, we want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more times in total. So we're just going to count the amount of times that we do this exact same thing. So up diagonal, towards the back of the build, and then 1, 2, 3 on top. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, in total, we want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those diagonally placed rows of 4 light grey concrete. So, from this last one, we want to place an up left diagonal again, a singular light grey concrete on top, and then from this, we are going to place a light blue glass on top of this, and then a white concrete on the outside. So, that's just a nice little marker for us for later. From the bottom of the 2 light grey concretes, we'll place a light grey concrete back and left diagonally, extend down 1, 2, 3, and then add another back left diagonal, and we are going to join this down to the frame of our building. So, we'll end up with a really, really cool shape actually. It will look like this. Now, this kind of reminds me of a shark, which is funny. Shark? So, Now that we have done this, we want to move on to the opposite side of the building and we want to do the exact same thing. So I will remind you of the measurements. We start from the top front right corner of the building, move back 1, 2. On top of this block, place 9 light grey concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we simply do, in total, 7 diagonals. So 1, 1, 2, 3 on top. So that would be 1 in total. And then 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in total. So start off with 9. 7 times 4 vertical rows of light grey concrete. And from the last one, we'll place an upright diagonal extending backwards, single light grey concrete on top, glass on top of this, white concrete in front of it, and then come down here to the row of 2, place a back right diagonal here, and then join it down to the frame of our building. So we will have this on both sides and it will look pretty spectacular once it's done. And we are further working on what kind of looks now, it still sort of looks like a shark, but now it's starting to look like a winged creature. I don't know what exactly, but we're getting there. Or maybe even like a rabbit with like 2 ears. But anyway, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add a bit of framing around what we've just made. So the easiest way to do it is actually to start all the way down here at the bottom of the very long rows that we've made, the vertical straight ones. And we place a row of white concrete behind and outside of the rows of light grey concrete, right? So this row of white concrete, it just extends all the way up, and it is going to sit on the outside of our light grey concrete, okay? Like this. And the reason that that is important is that we can then, and let's do it on the other side as well, because I don't want to forget to do it on the other side too. So let's extend the white concrete, just remember, behind and outside of the row of light grey. This helps us to create depth. It's just a nice little feature to the building. Like this. So remember, on the outside, it just kind of goes all the way around like that. It looks pretty cool. So we end up with this singular white concrete here, and what we then want to do is in front and above this, we place another white concrete, extend it forwards by 1 row, and this is from the left side. We then want to place 2 up and forward diagonal white concretes, extend forwards by 1, 2, 3, 4. And then extending inwards now, so inwards and to the right diagonally, inwards and forwards, we place a white concrete, extend forwards 1, 2, and then inwards and right diagonally, place 1 in front. We then want to place 2 inwards and forwards diagonals like this. The second one, we extend in by 1, and then we do this one more time, we place another diagonal, inwards and forwards, and then extend to the right by 1. Now, we have to have a center point, so we place an inwards and forwards diagonal. So we now want to extend this diagonal block to the right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is actually the center row. So from here, we simply just have to repeat what we've already done onto this side, and everything will connect together nicely. So from the end of this row, we place an inward and to the right diagonal, extend right 1. Inward and right diagonal, extend right by 1. 2 inward and right diagonals, 1, 2. Extend the second one back by 1. We then want to place another inward and right diagonal, like this, and extend back by 2, 1, 2. Then, one more time, inward and right diagonal, extend back by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we just have to join this downwards like this. So we place a couple of diagonals, 1, bottom right diagonals 2, and then extend back by 1. And then you should notice that this mirrors the opposite side, and we now have a pretty cool shape. So whilst it might look as though that we've not filled in a lot of the building, A lot of this is actually the hard part, ladies and gentlemen, so you should be quite happy that we've actually made it to this point. So from here, we are going to add more white concrete framing, which will help us shape the building further. So starting on the left side here, where we have this row of 5 white concrete, we want to place grey concrete on the inside of this first block. We do have to be specific. We then want to extend the grey concrete upwards by 1, 2. Place a white concrete on the outside of the second block. And then extend the white concrete forwards by 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then extend a block inwards and forwards like this, and forwards by 2, 1, 2. Then place another front right diagonal and extend forwards 1, 2. Then extend 2 front right diagonal, so 1, 2. Extend to the right by 2, 1, 2. Now we want to place another front right diagonal. We then want to extend this block to the right by 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is once again a pivotal row. So this is the center, and all we have to do is pretty much just copy what we did on that side over onto this side again. So that means an inwards and right diagonal, extend to the right by 2, 1, 2. We then want to place 2 inward right diagonals, so 1, 2. Extend back by 2, 1, 2. Place an inwards and right diagonal and extend back by 2, 1, 2. Place an inwards and right diagonal and extend back by, well, quite a lot actually. We extend back by 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this is that point over there. So we can place a grey concrete and extend down by 2. And in doing that, we actually have the same thing on both sides now. So you can see how this is shaping together really, really nicely. And we're almost at the point where we don't have to place all of these diagonal rows of stuff in thin air. So the next thing we're going to do is we are now going to start extending the white concrete backwards. We're actually going to start all the way back over here on this side, as everything just seems to start on this side. And we are going to place behind this row of white concrete a row of 7 white concrete. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Extend up by 2, 1, 2. Place a front up right diagonal. Place 1 on top. Extend right by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend up by 2, 1, 2. Up right diagonal. Extend up by 2, 1, 2. Extend left by 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then down by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then simply just extend right like this. So the end result will look it looks so weird. The end result will look like this. To which we can then come over onto the opposite side over here. And we can extend this white concrete backwards by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then extend up by 2. 1, 2. And then place an up left diagonal. 1 on top. Extend left by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up by 2. 1, 2. Then place an up left diagonal. Up 2. Right by 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then we simply just want to extend down by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then extend forwards like this. So we can join the top of this shape together at the front. And you can probably even do it at the back as well if you like. But just the top really, because I don't know whether we're going to add glass into the top of this or white concrete. We'll kind of just see when we get there. But the end result anyway, and once again, I do want to keep pointing out that we are making tremendous progress here, believe it or not. The end result should look exactly like this. So, what are we going to be doing next? we are going to add the back part of the tower. So this is all of the part of the tower that requires any sort of finesse. The rest of this is actually pretty much just the same shape, extended back and up. So we come all the way down to this part of the tower here, just above the light grey concrete line, behind this white concrete area here, and we place a row of 11 grey concrete extending backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We then want to place an inward left diagonal, extending out the back like this, so in left, extend back by 2, 1, 2, and then an in left diagonal, extend back by 1, 2 inward left diagonals, so 1 and then 2, extend to the left by 2, 1, 2, and then place an inward and left diagonal, then extend this diagonal across to the left by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then all we simply have to do is mirror this shape that we've made. So we place an in left diagonal and go left by 2, 1, 2, 2 in left diagonal, so 1, 2, extend forwards by 1, place an inward left diagonal and then extend forwards by 2, 1, 2, and then place just another outward diagonal like this and extend all the way forwards. So we should have this shape right here, kind of like half an oval. Now, the cool thing about this shape is that we can extend it all the way up to, let me show you where the line is, just underneath where the white concrete line is here. So if we take a look from the outside, this line here. So that might seem a little bit crazy, like that's an insane amount. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Doc Ock. So we want to take all of this grey concrete here and literally just the entire shape that we've just made. You can see how painstaking this is. We literally want to extend this all the way up to the top like this. And by the way, it is also just going to connect here as well. Like it's going to connect forwards and fill this shape in here. And it will then extend inwards and around the white concrete line that we have below the big line, if that makes sense. So just to show you from the outside, it will extend up from the back, fill this gap in, and extend forwards and fill the little line, the gap between the two white lines. So let's do it. Perfect. So now that we have placed all of our grey concrete and we are left with something that kind of looks like a penguin with glasses, we want to grab our white concrete and add a row of white concrete starting from this long row here. We want to add a row of white concrete all the way around the grey concrete. So this is going to create depth, and it is also going to help us separate some of the colours of the tower. So what I mean by that is that now that we have added a row of white concrete all the way around the top of the grey concrete, okay, so what we now want to do is mark out on top of the grey concrete area, however sitting behind the white concrete area, we want to place a row of 4 light grey concrete extending up on top of the grey concrete. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to place a white concrete in front of this 4th block. Place a row of 5 grey concrete on top of the light grey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Place white concrete in front of the grey. And then proceed to place a row of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grey concrete, which we are not going to place anything in front of. So, these rows right here are very, very simple, but quite important. So, all we're going to do is extend on top of the row of grey concrete that we have already placed, so we know the shape, and we are going to extend it forwards. So this is with the light grey, this is with the grey. We're going to simply just place it on top of the grey concrete, extend it forwards, make sure it sits behind the white concrete shape, and we'll do the exact same thing with the grey concrete as well. So the grey concrete, just as an example, you know, extending forwards, just so that it just sits just behind the white concrete, just all the way up to the top like this, and we'll extend these rows back and around and as high as they have to go. Perfect, so now we have raised up those individual rows, what we can now do is extend white concrete around the backs of them, just similar to how we did earlier, just sitting on the outside. This helps us to create a bit of depth. It kind of helps the rows to blend together as well, and it just helps to kind of like shape the building. It just looks really, really cool. So once we just add this around the edge all the way here. Oh, and also just to the front, we will end up with this shape. Perfect, we're really getting there. I love how that looks. Now, unfortunately, the top of the tower does require a little bit more shaping. So, from this kind of like crescent that we have here, we now want to start from the top front left-hand corner of the grey concrete shape that we've made, and we want to move backwards 1, 2, and place 2 grey concretes extending up, 1, 2. Extend back 2, 1, 2, and then extend up by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this shape right here, okay? And we want the same thing on this opposite side, so we start from the corner, 1, 2, and then extend up, 1, 2, back 2, 1, 2, up by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all we simply have to do is just behind the shape right here, we just have to fill it in and make it as high as the top of the shape that we already have. So maybe I explained that in a weird way, but hopefully it's quite apparent what you actually have to do. Perfect, so that is the shape that we are looking for. And now that we've done that, we hopefully are getting a decent look at what the tower is ultimately going to look like. I think that we've kind of got the shape of it. We just have to add some of the finer detail. So why don't we do exactly that? We're going to start all the way at the base of the tower. Now, this is very, very simple, but a little bit time consuming, as are, well, every other part of this tutorial. So, the grey concrete area that this entire tower sits on is filled with windows. And basically, if we divide this area up into a grid, the way that we do it is, starting from this bottom row here, place 2 glass, 1 light grey concrete, 2 glass, 1 light grey concrete, so on and so forth, and that'll extend all the way back and around. Well, the light grey concretes want to extend up and vertically and connect to the top. And the windows are 3 rows high in total, so we've got glass, so we add 2 rows to the windows, light grey concrete on top, and then fill the top of this window in, and this is exactly how this will look. So, they are 2 rows wide, 3 rows high, light grey concrete in between. Let's do it. There we go, that looks a lot better. So now that we've done that, we should also make the entrance down here as well. So it's not really too complicated, we just want to take the middle 2 windows on the front of the build, grab white concrete and extend the corners of the windows 1, 2, 3 forwards with the white concrete. 1, 2, 3. Join together at the outside. Add a row of 1, 2, 3, 4 white concrete. 1, 2, 3, 4 white concrete just in the corners. Join back. Then across at the top. You can fill the top in with whatever you like, but I'm just going to use white concrete. I don't want to use glass. We'll create a separation in the middle, like this. I don't know whether to add glass to these sides or whether to have just white concrete in the sides because it'll just stand out a little bit better, I think. And then we'll fill the floor in with something as well, maybe just like light grey concrete, although ultimately I don't know what the floor will look like. Create a little bit of a space here. We could even add a divider between the 2 doors and then just add some glass on the outsides like this. And there we go. I mean, we've got an entrance, and of course we can add stairs and stuff in as we see fit, depending upon what you want to use this building for, whether it's just kind of like what I'm using it as, which is just kind of like a cool monument in the city, or if you do actually want to use it, then obviously you're going to want to do different things. But this is the bottom of the building, this is the entrance. So the next step for us is to realize that I have made a slight error in my build that hopefully you haven't made yourself, but we'll have to see. So I've noticed that on the side of the build here, where we have the light grey concrete, what I'm referring to as the shark fins, we haven't placed a row of 4 light grey concrete up at the top here. We have just went straight down from the apex. So to remedy this, where we have this row of 4 light grey concrete at the top, just on this right side, we want to destroy this row of light grey concrete. You know, sometimes these mistakes do happen, unfortunately. We destroy the row of light grey concrete, and then the row of white concrete behind it, we'll just destroy this, just coming all the way up to the top. Let's give it a second. And then we simply, now that we have this row of 4 light grey concrete, behind this, we're going to extend this down, all the way down to the bottom of the build, and hang on a second, so all the way down to the bottom, and it should line up with this window, to which we then want to simply just place the white concrete along the outside. So if you have made this mistake, hopefully you wouldn't have, because we did just like copy the opposite side, but for some reason I did make an ever so slight boo-boo. But now that we have the exact same thing on both sides, we are able to come inside of what, once again, I'm referring to as the shark fins, and we are going to add windows. So place a row of white concrete just on the inside of the windows that we have made for the light grey concrete bottom part of the build, and we want to extend the white concrete upwards where they are parallel to the vertical rows of light grey concrete. So we want to place vertical rows of white concrete parallel to where we have the vertical rows of light grey concrete, just extending all the way up to the top of our side. So wherever that side may be, so some rows are going to be taller than others, you simply want to extend them upwards so that they just slot inside of the light grey concrete. So that should be it for this side, like this, right? And you can even add a row of white concrete just behind the light grey concrete if you like as well, because you will be able to see the sides of the window the way that we're going to be doing them, so you can add this. And we also have to add divisions in between the windows. So like at the bottom here, we're actually going to add an extra row of white concrete horizontally across the bottom like this. And then we want to have the same method of 1, 2, 3 windows that are 3 rows high and 2 rows thick. And then we want to simply just place white concrete. So on top of them. So that's exactly how the windows will look, extending all the way up wherever possible. Like at some points of the build, you're not going to be able to place some of the white or some of the glass, but I'll use your best judgment as to where that is. Like just as a for instance, like as we get to the top here, as I'm placing this line of windows, like you'll see that as we get up to the top, we can place here, we can place 1, 2, 3 glass, and then we can stick a white concrete on top if we want, which looks fine and all, but you might find that you would prefer it to be just simply a glass. So there's little tiny choices here and there that don't ultimately matter too much. It's going to be much more of a personal opinion. And anyway, that's how these windows want to work out, and how the opposite side of the windows will also look as well. This is looking pretty good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy with how much progress we are making on the tower. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to make the entire front part of the tower from the bottom all the way up to the top of this platform. And to do that, well, we should work our way here to start with, I guess. And we are going to take the bottom corner of the white concrete here. So, not this white concrete where the light grey concrete is, but here, the bottom of this window, and we are going to extend this inwards 1, 2. Then, we are going to place a inwards diagonal row of white concrete and extend inwards 1, 2. And then an inwards diagonal row of white concrete and extend to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. And then on the opposite side, we want to do the exact same thing. We'll take the bottom corner of the window and extend 1, 2, and then inwards diagonal, and then 1, 2. And there we go. That is how the bottom frame of the windows look, and it'll be a bit easier actually if they don't connect together in the corners, because the next part of this is to add glass onto them. 1, 2, 3 rows of glass, 1, 2, 3 rows of glass, like this, right? Just exactly how we have all of the other windows. Like a large portion of this tower, a large reason that I think that the tower looks really quite cool is that a lot of the windows and a lot of the framing of the tower lines up with other parts of the tower. So we'll have 3 rows of windows like this, and then we'll add white concrete directly on top, and you get the cool curvature in the middle, and you can see how the windows all line up, so it's quite satisfying to look at. And this is a repeatable process, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite easy, really. So all we have to keep doing is basically continuing the same window structure that we have just down below upwards. The only difficulty is this: we will hit different parts of the tower as it starts to get more and more concave as we get all the way up to the top, but the way around this is to, and let me just use this as a bit of an example. So the way around this is, as we're building up our windows, and you know it's slowly starting to move inwards and inwards, it's starting to curl inwards a little bit, we still keep placing our 3 rows of glass with the row of white concrete on top, like this. And then you'll notice that whilst we've done that, this next part, what do we do? The glass is, you know, it's in a different position. We simply extend the glass across as we would usually, and we just extend the glass 1 row inwards. That's literally it. So the exact same method, the same amount of glass, the same amount of white concrete, except we just extend it across from wherever it is. So where we have this white concrete here, this will also extend one row inwards. And then the glass, you can see this extended in again. Well, we just extend the glass inwards just behind it. So wherever the glass is, wherever the white concrete is, we just simply extend it across. We have the same pattern of 3, 3, 5, 3, 3, and it just extends across from wherever it might be. So hopefully that's not complicated whatsoever. It probably sounds it, but in practice it's hopefully really, really easy and quite intuitive. So there will get a point here where after we have made all of the floors and all of the glass in between them, and by the way, I love this tower. I know I keep saying it, but I love how this tower looks. Well, there will get to a point, and this glass is bothering me. I'm going to replace that with light grey concrete, where we've kind of ran out of floors and we don't really have any more white concrete to place. Well, the grey concrete that we placed earlier, that we placed inside of the rows of white, will eventually extend backwards, right? So this entire grey concrete area will extend backwards and it will create a floor by itself. So the reason that that's important is because I think that the next thing to do is place glass so that it kind of complements the shape of the grey concrete here. So I think when we get to the top, I'm just going to place glass like this and just have it kind of like follow the shape of the grey concrete that we have kind of just surrounding. Have I done... Is that the same thing that I did on the other side? I guess what we could do actually is we could still have the same kind of like concave glass shape just when we get up to the top here, like this. And we can just kind of like extend it forward. So instead of extending it back how we have, if we just extend it forwards like this, and then that will actually just connect to the grey concrete here, right? Because the grey concrete will extend here and across like... Okay, yeah, perfect. So that's how that... Yeah, that'll look just fine. I really like how that looks, and that is how we will get across that problem. Alright guys, I promise we are almost finished with the bottom of the tower. We just have a couple more things to do. So, number one, I want to fill in these little gaps on the front of the build, and there will also be a slight gap on the back of the build with white concrete. I want to fill in the gaps between the light grey concrete base of the tower and the... Well, the upper tower doesn't really have a distinctive particular color. I guess it's just kind of like grey concrete if you had to pick just one. So, on the front and the back, wherever we have gaps between the separation of the lower part of the tower, the base of the tower, and the upper part of the tower, fill those in using white concrete. So that's on both sides. So here, and also here as well. There's a lot less on the back than there is the front. So that's job number one. Easy peasy. So the next job, which is also very, very simple, but this one's a little bit more time consuming, as everything else has been. I want to create more windows on the side of the tower, and this is a personal choice, as a matter of fact, because the tower's already got a lot of windows, right? It actually looks really, really cool as it is. Like, I am happy with this, but options. If you would like, we can place a series of windows up the side of the tower. If we start from the bottom here, where we have the row of white concrete windows with the glass in between, I want to take not the bottom row, but this row here, extend to the right where we have the grey concrete, and inside of this giant slab of grey concrete, I am going to dig out the centre that is the same height and width as the windows just to the left of it, and replace this using light blue glass. So, you can do this for every single floor, and as many floors as you like. So, not only will we do that on this side, but the idea is that we will also do it on the back. So, instead of having just grey concrete all around the back. I want to take out the middle row of grey concrete, the row of 5, destroy that, replace that using grey, and of course just move over to the side here. And we are going to do this on the side. So this is the exact opposite side. Destroy this, replace it using light blue glass, and there we go. That is looking pretty good. So, however many times you want to do that is kind of up to you, and you may or may not like it. It's, you know, you might prefer the contrast of the solid grey background to the light and windowed front. I mean, it's up to you, but I have, on the original version, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 of these in total, so I'm going to just do that as I did do it on the original version, but I'm going to leave that up to you anyway. So I'm going to quickly take out the next 6 floors to give us 7 in total. There we go. This is looking spectacular. So now that we have the windows on the side and we have the entire base of the tower done, ladies and gentlemen, we can now move up to the top of the tower. And unfortunately, we do have some more mass filling in just to make our lives easier. Where we have the white concrete area at the top of the tower, the kind of like big giant landing pad, or as I would refer to it, the penguin's beak. I don't know why this tower reminds me of a penguin so much. Although penguins don't have white beaks. Some might, I don't know. I'm not a penguinologist, but we want to fill this entire platform in here. So the exposed part of the platform all the way from here all the way to the back. So that's gonna that'll take a while, won't it, Spider-Man? It sure will. There we go. Now we have a landing pad. And now that we have done that, we do also have another little bit of filling in as well. I have decided that the white concrete area that we've made, not only do I want to fill the bottom of it in, so I'm not sure if you guys can remember when I was deliberating earlier on whether the top of this would be glass, whether it would be white concrete, etc, etc. Well, I want to fill the bottom and the top of it in using white concrete. And said white concrete is going to extend all the way back to the back of the tower. So it's actually going to be quite a lot. So the bottom and also the top, I will do the exact same thing. But realize, ladies and gentlemen, that we only have to place well, actually, it's quite a lot of glass. I was going to say a bit of glass, but it's still quite a lot of glass. And then we will be done. Plus, we do also have to do the sort of like logo on the side, but we are getting there. Okay, so now that we have added all of that white concrete in, it's starting to look like this could be such a cool house as well. Like, this would be a really awesome, like, modern penthouse. I'm I've got some plans for this building, I think, in a future Stream City episode, but now that we've added all of that white concrete, we just have to add a bunch of glass, and it's kind of up to you how you want to do it. I think I'm going to stick to the kind of like the method that we use down below. So, one row inwards from this light grey concrete here, or maybe even I will extend from the light grey concrete. I want a row of 3 glass extending outwards, so like 1, 2, 3. So let's do this from both sides, 1, 2, 3. And then inwards, 1, 2, 3. And then inwards, 1, 2, 3. And then finally, a row of 5 right in the middle. And I think that that is, yeah, I think that that will do just fine. So we kind of keep that concave structure. It's, yeah, I think it'll just look better. Like, the building will flow better. Like, if we kind of, like, keep... I mean, it's difficult to see because there's no light, but if we kind of keep the similar theme going, I think that that'll look pretty good. I'm going to fill the sides of what I'll call the penthouse, but this is where Tony's office is, I believe. I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure Tony's office is here. I guess not Tony's office anymore. You know what I mean? But, endgame spoilers? I guess. But, I mean, the movie's so old now, right? I don't think that I'm spoiling anything. But yeah, where Tony's office used to be was, whatever, I suppose. We're going to fill the outside of this in using light blue glass. So we're just going to connect the white concretes together like this. And I think that that'll actually give a nice little bit of a contrast as well. So where we have been quite shapely with the glass, where we have been quite careful with it, like to kind of give a stark difference at the top, I think it's a little bit refreshing. But coming back to the sort of original design, in between all of this grey concrete here at the top, we're going to start 1 row inwards, and from each side, 1, 2, 3 glass, extend inwards diagonally, 1, 2, 3, and then from this side here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, inwards, 1, 2, 3, and then join together with a row of 5 in the middle, and then we'll extend the glass up like this, keep it inside of the grey concrete, and then, I mean, how could we do this? Maybe we could just, like, run it up the inside all the way up to the top like this, and if we just get rid of the diagonal blocks, it will probably look a little bit better. And then if we just stick with the original plan of just extending the glass up, kind of keep the 3, 3, 5, 3, 3 structure with the glass, like this. So let's take a look at the next level. Yeah, I think that that's cool, and then we can... Yeah, I think that that's the way to do it. So there'll be a bit of a... It's kind of like a steep diagonal section, but then it will return back up like this. So I think that that'll look pretty cool. So we'll extend all of these across, and then we will fill the top in using glass as well. Yeah, I think that that looks pretty cool. I'm quite happy with that. That's kind of interesting at the top. You can see the steep curve. Although I don't know whether it is a bit too steep. Like, I don't know whether we would be better off, like, destroying this row of glass here, and then adding, like, another row underneath it, just so that there is a little bit more gradation or less gradation. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly at all, but I want it to look a little bit more flat rather than just having like just a steep upwards curve as it was. I think that, yeah, I think that that looks a little bit better already, and honestly it might look even a little bit better if we just knock out this bottom row and we've kind of, and just make this flatter. So if we add a row of glass underneath here, and then extend the top backwards, I think that I just get the sense that that'd look a little bit better than just all of the diagonals. Like I think it will just look a little bit smoother which I think I would prefer. Yeah, there we go, perfect. I think that looks a little bit better than just these steep diagonals, but ladies and gentlemen, that is the majority of the tower complete. Oh, it's looking good. This is crazy. It is by far the biggest building in Stream City, singular building anyway, when you take away, you know, villains and heroes. So the last thing that we are going to add is the logo on these sides. So there is an Avengers logo on both sides of the tower. I just want to start on this side specifically. Grab the light grey concrete and you want to work your way to... where do we want to? Okay, this is where it would be. So... where we have this glass section here at the top of the building, we've got the vertical row of white concrete to the left of it. Underneath the corner block here, we're going to place a light grey concrete, extend it forwards, 2 up left diagonals, 1, 2, extend left by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 bottom left diagonals, 1, 2, extend down by 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice, by the way, the light grey concrete wants to sit 1 row in front of the white concrete, and it also wants to join to the towers, so you've got to be careful as you're doing this. We then want to place 2 bottom right diagonals from the bottom of the row, so 1, 2. Extend to the right by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Extend outwards. 2 upright diagonals, so 1, 2, and then we want to join up and connect together. So that's looking pretty good. We're going to fill the center of this in using blue concrete. So we're also going to get rid of this band of white in between the 2 sides. So get rid of this, destroy the white concrete, replace it using blue. There we go, that's looking pretty good. And then the next part of this is to add an A. If we start at the top center of the circle here with light blue concrete, and then we place light blue concrete bottom left diagonally, extend down 1, place another bottom left diagonal with the light blue concrete, extend down by 1, 2, right by 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1, up left diagonal, up 2. We take the corner block here, extend right, down, and take the bottom left corner and extend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, and then carefully just extend all of the light blue concretes so that they are all the same depth. So they all want to extend forwards and supersede the light grey concrete by 1 row like this. And we also want to have the Avengers logo on the opposite side of the tower as well. And of course it wants to be the exact same place on the opposite side of the tower, and it wants to be made in the exact same way as well. There we go. Nice. And in doing that, ladies and gentlemen, we have actually finished the construction of the Avengers Tower. Except for one teensy, weensy little decision for you guys. So, when it comes to the Avengers Tower, it's actually set up in such a way that you can turn it into an office building. I purposely made it so that you could adapt this into a big giant office building. Hence why the floors are all quite big and they're segmented in such a way that if you come to the inside of the tower and you extend the floors from the front to the back and in the logical places, so in between the windows of course, and there's like separation in between all of the glass. Like if you were to extend back every single one of these points, you'd be able to create a big giant office building, which is cool. And of course we have the penthouse up top, which you could, you know, turn into something fun, or you could try and recreate, you know, Stark's office. And, you know, there's a load of possibilities with what you could do with this. You could try and literally recreate the actual tower itself, which I would find very difficult myself because there's not enough reference images to it. But you could also turn it into an office building. Or what I am going to do is I'm going to turn this into a monument for Stream City. So it's not really meant to be usable, it's just a really cool thing to have in the city, like just a big giant statue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the inside with either, I don't know which one yet, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to cover up all of the windows with either light blue or just good old blue concrete. And I think I might go with light blue because it is a little bit lighter, although just dark blue is a little bit more subtle. So again, I'll kind of make that decision for myself, and I'm going to have this almost as just a cool piece to have in the city. So it's up to you whether you want to modify it into an office building. Certainly possible. If you want to try and somehow recreate the town itself, that's very possible as well. Or again, my recommendation is I'm just going to have it just like a cool monument, like the Eiffel Tower, like Big Ben or something, like just in the city, just a cool thing to have. So I'm going to fill it up. I'm going to remove all of the white concrete and stuff around it, and I mean, that's that. And that is that, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, I have added some light blue concrete all the way around the inside the building, covering up every single window, just to preserve a little bit of mysticism. I've added some sea lanterns to the center windows on the front, as it was a little bit dark and it kind of cast a really weird shadow. But that is the tutorial complete. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Click that little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all my videos sent directly to your sub box. If you have any interest in this world that I've been building in, you are actually able to download it if you are a channel member, Java Edition only. Channel members are provided with a brand new fresh download link for Stream City, Java Edition only, every single time it has been updated. So if you want to explore it for yourself, maybe use it as a starting point for your own city, or just kind of add it to a collection, then channel members, if you're interested, are given the opportunity to do that. But thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope that you've enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.